Hello, welcome to Mark's Remarks, and today I'm going to do something I haven't done in quite a few weeks. Is another film review. Now, I've already done 3, which I've been a bit lax. I've been concentrating on the foods and the money saving tips and whatnot. But like I said in my introduction video, one of my very first videos, is that I'll be doing some film reviews, and they won't be the modern movies. So other people can deal with those. I like watching a few modern movies, but I do prefer the old classics. And this is one of them. So I'll be doing a few of these films. I've got a whole whopping collection back there, and these are films. Like I say in the introduction, there'll be some gems in there. Films that really, because of their age, they'll be overlooked, and also the fact that they're black and white, sometimes they're overlooked as well. But today we're going to be looking at the 310 to Yuma, not humor, Yuma. Let me see. This is the 1957 version, starring Glenn Ford, who is on the right here, and Van Heflin on the left. You may recognise Glenn Ford. He was the dad in the first Christopher Reeve motion picture, the motion picture of Superman. Remember when Superman was a baby and the car falls on him when he's changing a tyre, the baby lifts the car, that's him. Anyway. Okay, yeah, like I say, it's a 1957 version, and there's also been a remake, so I might well do a view on that. As is the custom of the day, it's a very short film compared to by today. It's only 88 minutes, so it's just short of an hour and a half, which nowadays, of course, you're looking at like 2 hours. But it's a very interesting film. The cover shows it in colour, but it's actually a black and white movie, and it's of the story. Glenn Ford is the leader of a gang of villains. And they start off the film by robbing a stagecoach and killing a few people, but basically they're just outlaws, thieving scumbags and murderers, Anyway, Glenn Ford gets himself captured. In the process, his gang manage to escape, and what happens is that the townsfolk, they're pretty sick of the way things are happening with the outlaws running wild, so they recruit some guys to take Glenn Ford to the Yuma jail. Or they need to get him on the train, the 310 to Yuma, to put him in the prison. And you can imagine the amount of volunteers is pretty thin. So that leads us up to Van Heflin here. He plays a dirt poor cattle farmer. Now this guy is desperate for money. His cattle are dying left and right. There's been no rain for 6 months. He's in a desperate situation. He doesn't want to be dealing with the criminal, taking him, trying to fight off the gang of cutthroats. But he's in a bit of a bind. What's he going to do? He has to do this. He has no option. His cattle are dying. His family are going to be, the family are going to suffer. So he takes on the job of escorting the criminal Glenn Ford here, whose character is called Ben Wade. That's it, just like in the remake. And of course the outlaws are coming to stop this. And it's a very interesting story. I like this story because while it's a Western, it's got its share of gunplay, but it's a very good story. I mean, most of it takes part between the dialogue between these two characters. They spend several hours of screen of movie time, and most of the actual film time together. And Wade is trying to convince Heflin here. I'm trying to look for his name. I'll find it in a sec. But Glenn Ford is trying to put, but basically he knows his gang's coming for him, and they're basically going to kill anybody who gets in the way. He kind of has a soft spot for him, where he's not an out, he doesn't really want to do him any harm, because he realises that he's actually a decent man. He's just been put in a real bind. And there's a tremendous performance by Van Heflin here. He plays a guy who you can tell, that's the beauty of a great actor. They can do acting by their facial expressions, their demeanour, their body language, the way they walk, the way they carry themselves. This guy is not a gunslinging hero. He's just a cattle farmer who's having some really bad luck. The fact that the rain's not coming, there's no grass, the cattle are dying off from hunger and thirst. He's in a bind. He plays a really vulnerable man, and he's just a family man, and he's only dealing with the criminal types because he absolutely doesn't have a choice, and he portrays that in the acting he does, and it's not often you kind of see that, the absolute desperation in his performance, and there's some good performances all round. There's some members of his gang whose names are not on the back here, as far as I can see. By the cropped takes the job. And his wife, who I believe is Felicia Farr. It looks like here. She's a really good character as well. She's married. Of course, she's married to this guy, and she's totally supportive. She just wants her husband back. She doesn't want him escorting this guy to the jail, because she knows it's there's a dozen gunmen trying to prevent this. And I don't know if that makes any sense so far, but I mean, I really like this movie. It's basically, it's the opposite of the usual gunslinging, everybody's out shooting up the place. This is a guy who's in a situation that he absolutely is a fish out of water, and he's been put in a position that he absolutely doesn't want to be in, but he doesn't have a choice. It's one of those movies where, you really ought to watch it. It's a black and white movie, but don't let that put you off. There's some good performances all round. And, for a film that is 57, coming up to 60 years, 60 years, 1957, 60 years, it does hold up, and they've only just got round to making a remake with Christian Bale and, whatever his name is, the guy from Gladiator, who incidentally, on a side note, this guy played Superman's adopted son in the first Christopher Reeve Superman movie, and the guy from the Russell Crowe plays Superman's dad in one of the later movies. You check that out in one of the ones from 1 or 2 years back. So they both played, and also Crowe played the part of Ben Wade in the remake of this. So that's how that connection is. Anyway, I'm waffling on. I hope that made sense to you, and I hope that's inspired you to have a look at this, because it really is one of those. It's a gem. And it's one of those that will be overlooked, because you look at the cover and you think, oh yeah, it's not an exciting cover, but there is a gem inside, and there's some really good performances. It's a lot different than the action-packed kind of movies that we're used to seeing today, but for a damn good story, you can't go wrong with this. Anyway, like I say, it's black and white. It's 88 minutes. So it's a good half an hour shorter than a lot of movies nowadays. I might do a review on the remake of this. The remake is very similar. All the characters' names are the same, of course. There's a lot of familiar scenes and dialogue in the remake, but there's a few changes. So anyway, I'll let me know what you think. If you've seen this or you plan on watching it, let me know in the comments section. I'd love to hear what you thought about it. I really enjoyed it. I've seen this several times. Okay. Anyway, hopefully I'll do a few more for you, and I'll be able to articulate a bit better than I have today. It's very late in the evening. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. All right, bye bye.